World Bride magazine. And we are in New York City, still on lockdown. But as we prepare to get off lockdown in some areas, I wanted just to encourage everybody to be safe. That's number one. But number two, if you are still going to be on lockdown and you're planning a wedding, this is the best time for you to plan your wedding. Just focus and read books, find resources, go on your Pinterest, find wedding professionals that are going to help you go through this process as stress-free as you can. I decided to call another friend of World Bride magazine and ask her how to help us plan your wedding and how you can plan your own wedding. And she came out with this amazing book that I have the honor of having my own copy, which she needs to give me an autograph on. It is called the Budget Savvy Wedding Planner and Organizer. It's a checklist, worksheet, essential tools to plan the perfect wedding on a small budget. Jessica Bishop. Jessica! Woo! How are you?
I'm good. I'm quarantined or locked down in South Florida, so at least the weather here is nice.
It really is. How is it in Florida? You know,
it's beautiful.
The lockdown and everything is everybody abiding by it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously, I'm not really going anywhere other than to the grocery store, and I usually take a good long walk every day. I've definitely seen more people on my morning walks than I did before this.
Okay.
But I think people are obeying for the most part. So
good, because I think people are getting a little antsy. They want to be out. The weather is nice, and it's summer coming, and it's like, do we really want to be stuck? It's one thing to choose to be at home. It's a whole other thing when you cannot be out at all. You know.
Absolutely.
We are so excited about you and who you are. So please give us the full introduction, your full name and your occupation, title, and what is it that you do?
Sure. So my name is Jessica Bishop, and I am the founder of a website called thebudgetsavvybride.com, which I started actually 12 years ago this week, which is crazy. So
Happy
I just had
anniversary!
Thank you so much. Yes, I had my blogiversary this week, and yeah, and then 2 years ago, I came out with my book, The Budget Savvy Wedding Planner and Organizer, and both are really great resources to help couples plan a wedding that fits their personal financial situation. You know, obviously the subtitle of the book says on a small budget, but really it's applicable to any size budget, and you can just, you know, take the tips and ideas that work for you. So
I agree. And I'm going to read, first of all, you dedicated this to your family, which was so beautiful. I love that. It's all about family who supported you, the crazy ideas and the changes in direction and leaps of faith. Love it. Beautiful. So for you guys that are watching and listening, some of the content that she beautifully designed are, I'm going to read them for you. There's only 13 of them. So it's the vision. First, you have to have your vision, create the budget, the guest list, the venue, the invites, your wedding day look, wedding party, photography, music, cake, and more, decor, rentals, flowers, favors, the other parties, accommodations, transportation, and more, the big day, and she even has a section on the honeymoon. You literally have everything from A to Z. So tell us a little bit about, I dropped my book. What was the mission behind the book?
Yeah, well, obviously, since I've been running the site for 12 years, I have so many great resources there, but it's a lot of content to kind of go through. So it had always been something that I'd wanted to do, is put it together in a book that was easy to navigate and really took you from start to finish when it comes to planning a wedding. And so that's really like how it got started. And I wanted to make it, you know, affordable for brides of any price point. So you can actually get it on Amazon for $7.99, which, I mean, it's literally like the best $8 you will ever spend.
Yes, I agree. I totally 100% agree. When I got mine, I was like, this is a win-win. I think every bride needs to have it, whether she has a planner or not.
Yeah, it's really great. I'm honestly so proud of it. It's probably my proudest accomplishment of my life. And the feedback that I've gotten from couples has just been incredible. I know that a lot of people really resonate with the first chapter, starting at the very beginning,
Hmm.
and really sitting down with your partner and discussing the vision for your day. And that includes, what's actually important to you. What are your priorities, not just for your wedding day, but like for your life? Like, what do you hoping to accomplish together in the next 1, 3, 5, 10 years? What do you want your lives to look like? And obviously planning a wedding within your budget, within your actual financial means, without taking on debt or overspending money that you don't actually have is so important when you're thinking about making those bigger life goals happen together after the wedding.
I agree. You made a great point, and I think we were talking about this before we started our interview. I went to a bridal show, and one of the vendors happened to be a loan. I don't know if he was a loan officer, but pretty much uh, uh, somebody that finances different things, and they were pushing buy get have the wedding of your dreams by getting a loan. I was mortified personally. Not knocking anybody, because free will, you could do whatever you want, you choose whatever you want to do. But the whole idea of going to a bank or a financial institution to borrow money to get into debt before you even get into marriage, how do you feel about something like that?
Yeah, honestly, it's something that is really disheartening to me about the financial services industry. I think that it's a little bit predatory for these companies to be going after couples because so many, want to have that dream day that they've always envisioned, and then they get into the actual planning process and realize how expensive things are, and they might feel the pressure to take on debt or spend more than they actually have or can afford to spend, just to have that sort of like vision come to life. And I feel like that's one of the main reasons why I'm so passionate about sharing the content and advice that I do with my website and within the book, is that I really do believe that it's a bad idea to start your marriage off by taking out debt to pay for a wedding you can't actually afford. um, and that's a big part of that first section of my book, really sitting down and talking about your priorities and finding out what works for you. Because when you take on debt to pay for a wedding that you can actually afford, you're basically like stealing from your future self, because
Mm,
you're going to be paying that money back after the wedding day.
wow, that was powerful. You're stealing from your future self.
That's not a Jessica original. I've heard that somewhere before, but it's very
I've never heard valid it. So
in
for me,
this.
it's coming from you. I think
Yeah,
it's something to think about, because we often don't think about the consequences of the future when we make immediate decision, which is one of the key things about your book that I thoroughly enjoyed. Was it literally is a book. It's a worksheet. It gives you, it's about 195 page, well, nope, 197 pages long. And it is not long in the sense of like it's, oh my god, I'm drowning. It is important information that you and your the couple and their families need to sit down and make honest hearted decision before they start spending, so
absolutely.
it's a very useful tool. I'm glad you had that to say, because one of the biggest reasons for divorces is money. That's one of the biggest complaints that couples have in regards to divorces. What was the reason? Not so much infidelity, but the finances. So if you're going to start your marriage off in debt, how successful do you want it? Is it going to end up? Is the real question that we want our couples in planning to really think about, so that we can reach
Absolutely.
the point.
I as somebody who's been running a wedding website for 12 years now, I've been approached by lending companies and loan providers to promote these sorts of things to my audience, and I cannot in good conscience do that. Like it's a total integrity issue for me, because I just truly would not recommend it in any way, shape, or form. I think everyone should plan a wedding within the means that they have, and if you can't afford what you want, then you can take longer to be engaged and save up for what you actually want. I
Right.
think that's really the better course of action, rather than, taking on debt.
Right. And we talked about it. And your book actually helps people to plan more on the side of quality rather than quantity, because it doesn't say budget, meaning it has to be cheap. It's budget savvy. So there's still a chicness involved in it. It's about class, and class is not something you can buy, period. Never did, never could. But we will never, both our businesses have agreed that we would never shame anyone if you want to have $1 million wedding. If that's your thing, go do it. You should be able to, and no one should shame you for having $1 million wedding. But at the same time, I don't think a bride who decides that she wants to have a $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 wedding should be ashamed, feel shame for doing that as well. But your book provides them a guideline for how they can do it in a classy and elegant way. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I always like to say is, like, budget is not a dirty word. I think, especially within the wedding industry, some couples are made to feel a little bit less than if they don't have what's considered a more like traditionally sized budget by, the media standards that we're told. But the thing with being budget savvy is it's not about spending the least amount of money possible. It's not about being cheap. It's about
Right.
being smart with how you spend your money and spending it wisely and making the most of whatever that budget is that you have.
So now my next question is, with this new reality, how do you think, and the way people are going to be after post coronavirus, how do you think people are going to go the direction of having a wedding planner, not having a planner, doing it themselves? What do you think? What do you feel is your prediction?
I think we're still going to see a big mix, just depending on each couple's situation and how much time they're able to devote to it. Obviously, when it comes to planning like a wedding on a smaller budget and the more like DIY approach, it tends to be kind of a decision of like, do I have more time or do I have more money? And oftentimes, if you don't have as much money, then you'll have to invest more time and, do things yourself and things like that in order to make it happen within your uh, chosen budget. But I think there's definitely still going to be couples who are going to utilize the services of professional wedding planners. Obviously, people who have very demanding jobs and lives. They're still going to outsource where they can if they don't have the time to spend. And obviously, working with a professional is a great way to make sure everything is taken care of and you don't personally have those worries hanging over you on your big day.
Right.
One thing that I like always want to reiterate is that I'm absolutely not saying that you should not hire professional vendors for your wedding. I think it's the best way to have like a professionally executed event and to take that stress off of the couple on the wedding day. But unfortunately, it's just not realistic for every couple, depending on
Right.
their budget, to hire a professional for every single aspect of that day. And so
Right.
that's what I always aim to share, is the alternatives and the options that couples have if they do want to do things themselves, whether just because they want to or whether because of like financial constraints.
And I agree with you that it's not going to be something that's accessible to everyone for whatever reason. You may have that demanding mom that thinks that she's going to plan your wedding. Why do you need to involve anybody else? But at the same time, you're going to clash with ideas and concepts. Why add that stress? But one thing that personally, unless you're having a 20, 30 person wedding, you need a planner for the day of, because there's
Oh
no
yeah.
way you can actually enjoy your day. It goes so fast that you worrying about who's walking down the aisle, did the groom make it down the aisle, and getting your wedding party involved. How can they fulfill their task if they're busy trying to go through the lineup and making sure everything is done. Did the florist drop the flowers off? Was it put in the right place? Where's the marriage? The officiant. You don't want that kind of added stress to you. And when my daughter got married, as many weddings as I've done, as long as I've been running World Bride Magazine, we still hired a wedding planner. Naya Mosey from Simply Naya Designs. She came in, she consulted, and I think she was also a referee for me and my daughter, honestly. Because I wanted it one way, and her and her husband wanted it another way. And I was like, well, and she's like, well, this is still my wedding, and I am not one of your brides in the magazine, and I'm going to have my wedding.
Good for her, though. I applaud her. I know you might not want to hear that as a mom, but like I always encourage the couples to do what they want to do.
Absolutely.
And to try not to let like the outside influences way too much, because at the end of the day, it's like it's your day, you and your partner. But I'm sure as a professional in the industry, that was hard for you as a mom.
You know what it was? It wasn't because I trusted her in many different areas, but my concern was, and I think for me personally, the concern for me was I didn't want her to compromise for the sake of saying, Mom, I don't want you to do this. Because I think that was her big concern. Mom, you don't have to spend that much money. Don't worry about it. It wasn't all me. Her husband, he shifted all out, and his family. So it was a family effort in helping these young people get married. But at the same time, having Naya in part of the process of planning the wedding, it allowed, first of all, I have a full-time job to run a business, so I couldn't do as much. So I used wisdom and said, you manage that, manage her, get what you want. Here's what we have. This is the budget I have. The husband, Corbin, her husband now, said his budget. We helped them negotiate where we needed to. They called on us when they wanted. And then Naya pretty much went down the everything, but the day-to-day, Naya managed everything. So I could enjoy my daughter's wedding as a mother, that I wasn't running around chasing people. So I think wedding planners are a necessity. Maybe the day of, maybe as the consultation, maybe a guidance, working with your book. That's the fun thing that I noticed about your book. You gave date month to month where they should be, 6 to 8 months out, 4 to 6 months out, 3 to 4 months out, 2 months out, month of the wedding. You literally gave a whole guideline of timing to plan this wonderful wedding so that everybody can enjoy it. So I love your book. Love it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So what was my next question is destination weddings. With today's situation of traveling and everything there's so much uncertainties. Where do you see destination weddings going? And do you think it's going to be more localized? Whatever localized means for each area.
Yeah, I think for probably the next year, maybe two, if couples are thinking about a destination wedding, it might be the micro level of size. Whether it's just an elopement or less than 10 people perhaps. If you can convince your loved ones to get on a plane and go somewhere else right now, like they must love you a lot, because I personally don't plan to go anywhere for a while. But even though I would love to, obviously. I really do. I think, I don't think destination weddings are going anywhere necessarily. I just think it might be a little while before they can resume as we've known them. But at the same time, destination weddings always tend to be a little bit more intimate anyway. So I think it really depends on the situation, but I do think that people are probably going to be sticking closer to home when they're able. Obviously some couples don't have that ability if they live in a different area of the country from their closest loved ones. So, I think like all weddings. I say this all the time, and I feel like a broken record. Like weddings are like snowflakes. Every situation is different depending on the couple and their families and finances and all of those different logistics.
Yes,
What do you think, though?
for me, I think it's once people get over the fear of fear, and the businesses such as the hotels. I was just talking to the tourism of Syracuse. I'm a big fan of New York. First of all, I live in New York City. Not to be mistaken for New York State. There is a whole world out there that New Yorkers have not yet discovered. So we were talking about that. I personally believe that New York State will become the new destination for New Yorkers because they have beaches, because they have lakes, because they have mountains. So there's an option of places for us to just drive to that's 4 hours away, that we can go and enjoy New York itself. It's such a big state that it's okay if we decide our local destination will be New York, upstate New York, leaving the
Yeah.
actual city, so, I hope that happens because they definitely do need the business. And as a diehard New Yorker, I want New York to be fine. But if someone does want to have a destination wedding outside of the 51 United States and provinces that we have, go for it, but I think the airlines company are going to have to step up their games, giving security to its customers, ensuring them that they're going to be safe, and sanitizing precautions are being taken. The hotels and the properties and the venues are going to have to, I'm talking, if your game was a 9, it's going to have to be a 20 now. Forget about 10. You have to ramp it up, go for it. Because people are going to be afraid, and they don't want, and a couple shouldn't have that pressure of thinking like, oh my God, is this place safe enough for my grandmother, my great aunt, and the elders in the family, or people that are sick? And people shouldn't have to miss it because of those things that we can control, having a clean venue. And again, it's part of the section, one of your section in your book, it's picking the venue. So I'm all for going, but it's up to the businesses to ensure customers that they're going to be safe once they leave. Is it going to happen right away? I don't think so. I don't think we're going to get back to any form of normal. We're going to have to create a new normal, and our expectation, customer service, is going to have to be, at this point, no more, passive, kind of customer services. They're going to demand it, and within their rights. So I'm excited for both. I'm a traveling girl, so put me on a
Yeah, me
plane,
too.
I'm ready to go. So for me, I hope things do get normal, but I'm going to apologize early now. If you guys are not up to par, my demands are going to be even higher, because it's people's lives at stake, as far as destination weddings, that I'm concerned. What do you
For
think?
sure.
What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Like, I've been curious. I have a few friends. Obviously, I have actually a lot of friends who work in the wedding industry, and a good friend of mine who's a wedding photographer recently, flew from one city in one state to another to shoot like an elopement. And I asked her, like, what was that like? Like, I'm not getting on a plane anytime soon,
Right.
personally. And she said that, they're being very careful and wiping things down. And obviously they've increased like the amount of cleaning that they're doing and things like that. But that, she went to the airport and there were plenty of people walking around without masks on. And it's like, whose job is it to enforce this? Like, should they be forcing people to wear a mask when they enter the airport? Like, should they be denying them the ability to get on a plane if they don't have their own mask? Or are the are the airports going to be providing masks? Are the airlines going to be providing masks? Like, it's an interesting kind of situation that we're all in, and I think everybody's trying to figure it out. And it might be a while before people really get it right.
Right. I think so. I think it is going to be a challenge for people, just to manage it, because how can you force someone to wear a mask? The only thing right now you could do is deny them entrance because it's a public establishment. But you have to tell them before, because you can't, that I think now that has to be part of the contract. When you book your hotel, the hotel has to have a big red light that says, bring your mask or you will not be allowed in.
Right.
So there has
I think
to be
so many businesses, yeah, like so many businesses are being forced to update their contracts and policies and things like that. Not just where the masks are concerned, but even with like cancellation policies and like the force majeure clauses that are involved in like a lot of event contracts and things like that. I know a lot of businesses have been scrambling to kind of update those terms in light of everything that's going on.
Yeah, I think so. And I think we have a separate division of World Bride Magazine, and it's World Bride Magazine Production, where we help couples plan their wedding with wedding planners that we have that are, partners, advertisers, sponsors of the magazine. So we go through the bride with the couple and engage them, and then we match make them. We really are a matchmaker. We show them how to, which vendor is going to best qualify for them. So we had the honor and the privilege of doing a couple of weddings in 2019, and we have a couple lined up in 2020. Some had to reschedule and some canceled for now, and they're going to go into 2021. And one of the things that we encourage our bride to do, our couples, to get wedding insurance. Do you think it's going to be necessary for brides to get wedding insurance moving forward?
I mean, I've always been a fan of wedding insurance policies in general because they're pretty affordable, and should anything come up, it's just great to have that kind of security. But when it comes to COVID related issues, from what I understand, new policies are probably not going to cover any like cancellations or postponements related to the current pandemic situation. So while I do still think it's very important and everybody should, consider wedding insurance, especially if they're spending like a hefty chunk of cash on their event, you'll just want to make sure to check the policies and like read all the terms because, like I said, so many businesses are kind of like updating the terms of their contracts and things right now. So.
Well, I really appreciate this conversation. So tell us, where can our readers and viewers find you?
Yeah, of course. Our website is thebudgetsavvybride.com. And like I said, you can find the book on Amazon. And we're pretty active on social media as well, on Instagram at Budget Savvy Bride. Trying to post a bit more on YouTube these days as well. So yeah, all over the place. Facebook. We also have a really active Facebook group for couples who are currently planning. There's over 12,000 people in there right now. It's a really great and supportive community to be a part of, to share ideas and inspiration for ways to do things for less and create a beautiful wedding on whatever budget you've got. So,
yeah, and I think that's really important. So, do you have any closing remarks?
I think, for anybody out there who's like currently planning and, if you're feeling like worried or discouraged about everything that's going on and how it's affecting your plans, just really do your best to just focus on you and your partner and remember like why you're getting married, and try to put the focus on that and thinking about, your futures together, and try not to sweat the small stuff if you can avoid it.
The best bit of advice: do not sweat the small stuff.
Yeah. Wow.
Thank you so much.
I could take some of my own advice sometimes.
Can you give us the website, the web address, please?
Yes, thebudgetsavvybride.com.
Perfect. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much and happy quarantine. And I am going to book, and I am going to insist that all our brides pick up a copy of this amazing book. And did you say Amazon?
Yes.
It has a deal now?
Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
$7.99, I'm pretty sure is the
What?
price on Amazon. So it's
All right, guys. Then there you
yeah.
have it. There you have it. Jessica Bishop, the budget savvy bride expert. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want you guys to enjoy what's left of your time in quarantine wherever you are. And if you're planning your wedding, I strongly advise you, insist that you pick up the Budget Savvy Wedding Planner and Organizer by Jessica Bishop, and it can be available on Amazon.com. And I will give you a link to it in the article so you can make sure that you get it. All you have to do is click and you're there and get your copy. And literally, I ordered the book in one day, and in 4 days later I had it. So I'm super excited. It is available on Amazon. I am excited to share some tips from it. Jessica, I am going to be sharing tips from your book moving
Great.
pretty fabulous.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah, it's amazing. So guys, please pick up your copy and please contact us with any information, and we will share Jessica's information and contacts and social media along the lines of the article. And please, be safe, enjoy the wedding process, enjoy everything about it, because it goes by pretty quick. So until the next time, ciao Bella.
Bye.
Bye Jessica.